morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to talk about the other Terastal Pokemon. Although we need to start off by pointing out that the pretty, I think, interesting and unusual fact, we're only getting one Terastal Pokemon per set. So today we're going to be talking about Gyarados EX, a Terastal version, which is in Scarlet EX, and only in Scarlet EX. You can't find it in Violet. Remember, Scarlet EX and Violet EX in Japan is a double set with completely different set lists. Two sets that basically go together to make one, released on the same day, but very important to note that they are very different sets. And I previously told you about Arcanine, the Terastal Arcanine. And I told you that I thought there was going to be two per set, two for Scarlet EX and two for Violet EX. And that wasn't some weird prediction that came completely out of nowhere. That was a prediction based on the fact that Terastal EXs are very much the new version of V-Stars and V-Maxes, just like regular EXs are the new version of Pokemon Vs. And to be fair, double sets in Japan used to have 3 V-Maxes in. That's generally what we would see in a double set over in Japan. I mean, if we look at single sets, so the most recent proper set over in Japan was Paradigm Trigger, which we got over here as Silver Tempest, and there were 3 V-Stars and 1 V-Max. So we would be expecting 4 in a single set and 3 each in a double set. Having 1 in each of a double set is frankly unusual, and we didn't see it coming. It basically means we are going to be getting, assuming this pattern holds, and we've only seen 1 set, so we can't say for certain whether the pattern's going to hold or not, but as it stands at the moment, it looks like we're only going to be getting 1 Terastal Pokemon per set in a double set, and in a mini set or a main set, I wouldn't expect more than 2. Which means that if you're waiting for your favourite Pokemon to get a Terastal version, you might end up waiting a while at this stage, because I don't think we're going to see that many of them now, because, well, we've only got 1 in each of these sets. That is a pretty big deal. So with that out of the way, and that is a really important point, what does Gyarados actually do? And I am delighted to say that the translations on this video came from me. Yay! We're also going to talk about Dondozo and Tatsugiri because they're really cool water cards and I just really want to talk about them. So I'm going to pop them in this video as well. So, you can see that from the thumbnail. So Gyarados here, what we've got is 300 HP, which on a Stage 1 EX is honestly big. And we haven't seen many EXs running around as it stands at the moment. We are a little bit short of Stage 1 EXs, but for instance, we can compare this to the Lucario that we know is coming, which has 260, and we generally expect Stage 1 EXs to be roughly in line with Pokemon V-Star, so 300 is high. Shouldn't surprise you, Gyarados generally has a high amount of HP in the TCG. And I will tell you, it's just a water type. Obviously, in the video games, we see that Terastal Pokemon can have different typings. That's very much the gimmick. I am convinced that is going to happen in the TCG at some point, but it's not happened yet. We've seen 2. They've both been the quote-unquote correct type. So Gyarados here does have the Terastal rule, which is prevent any damage done to this Pokemon while it's on the bench. Exactly the same as we saw from Arcanine. And I saw a lot of predictions when Arcanine was revealed, which basically said, oh, there's going to be a variety of Terastal rules, and the Terastal Pokemon are going to have, one of several different rules, like we saw with Ancient Traits back in the day. And I've been telling you all the way along, there is nothing to suggest that that's what's happening. It doesn't say Terastal Alpha or Terastal Beta or Terastal A or anything like that. It just says Terastal. What that means is I would not expect there to be different variations of this rule. I would expect every Terastal Pokemon to have this exact same rule, which is that it doesn't take damage on the bench. Underwhelming? Yeah, honestly. It's a bit underwhelming. But as I told you, there is nothing whatsoever that we've seen, other than baseless speculation, to suggest that it's anything different. As it stands at the moment, Terastal Pokemon all have this rule, and that is it. There we go. Simple as that. Free energy 100, just no. No. Do remember that Melanie will not accelerate energy to a Pokemon EX, because Melanie specifically accelerates energy to a Pokemon V. That is quite important. And this is a Pokemon EX. Remember that as this comes out, Frostlass will be rotating out, so accelerating energy in that regard will be significantly more difficult. We will still have Frostlass. So Frostmoth's going, Frostlass is staying, but Frostlass is when you evolve, get 1 energy, bearing in mind we're also going to be losing Scoop Up Net to the rotation, and I think it'll come back incidentally. We always end up with good water energy acceleration, but I think as it stands at the moment, accelerating this energy is actually going to be a little bit of a pain. We then have 5 energy, free water to Colorless, 180 damage. If the defending Pokemon has any damage counters on it already, this does 180 more damage. So it's 360 damage, which is huge. Even Stage 2 EXs, we are expecting to go down to this amount of damage, which is awesome, incidentally. I mean, we've seen Stage 2s like Magnezone as an example. That's one we saw previously. 330 and miles over that. So damage-wise, we good, ladies and gentlemen. We good. I just don't know how we're getting the energy on here. And I do believe we're going to get some good water energy acceleration as time goes by. Because we always get good water energy acceleration. That's just something that we get. But up till now, people have been using Melanie and Frostmoth. Okay, fine. Kyurem. The problem with Kyurem is it's a free prize Pokemon, which is a pain because it's kind of vulnerable. And it is once during your turn per Kyurem, discard the top card of your deck. If it's water energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon. But now I'm having to get an evolution Pokemon out, and it's a free prize liability, and you've got to try and make sure there's a water energy at the top of your deck, bearing in mind at the moment the best way to do that is Oranguru, which is rotating out. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't that I forgot about Kyurem. It's that I'm kind of begrudgingly mentioning it on the end because I don't think Kyurem is good enough. I think if you're playing it in a deck like Palkia that needs 1 extra energy to attack, and you can play it with Oranguru, I think Kyurem's brilliant. I think it's amazing. In a deck that needs 4 extra energy when Oranguru's gone, nah. And this is my worry with Gyarados. The fact that we're losing, well, Melanie doesn't work, we're losing Frostmoth, Kyurem is good in some decks, but I don't think it's good with this, and we're kind of missing all the other cards I've mentioned. I'm not sure it's going to be easy to get this energy. But do remember, we always get some water energy acceleration. When we do, this is going to be a much better card. And obviously, as I said, you do need to have some damage on the defending Pokemon to activate the extra damage here. That's really not the biggest problem in this deck. Don't forget, we've got that whole Lucha, which I showed you as a promo, but it turns out it's just unstamped in the set properly. That's the one where when you bench it, you put 1 damage counter on each of 2 bench Pokemon. There's other ways to do it. That is really not the big issue here. I'm giving it free Wassies, an ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill, no frills, free Wassies. I think there's potential here, but I'm going to need some better energy acceleration before I can get excited about this card. Okay, fine, right, one more addendum, because I know someone's going to mention it, because I've already put Palkia V-Star on the screen. Here's the deal with Palkia V-Star. You've got your ability Star Portal, your V-Star power, and you can use that as your V-Star power for the game. It allows you to add free water energy from your discard to one of your water Pokemon in play. But basically, you need your attachment turn 1, then turn 2 you need Palkia, with free energy in the discard, and your attachment for turn 2 to get the first Gyarados out. And then what happens when that Gyarados goes down? And I love that it's a 2-prize Pokemon with 300 HP, but again, that is 2 turn attachments and your V-Star power for the game just to get your first Gyarados. So just like I didn't deliberately ignore Kyurem, I'm not deliberately ignoring Palkia V-Star, I just don't think it's good enough. You know what I do think might be good enough? Dondozo. Oh, we should mention Magikarp though quickly, shouldn't we? Did I tell you I did the translations myself for these? Because I totally did the translations myself and I'm very proud. Obviously, I checked with Antoine because I'm not an idiot, but I did do these myself and I got them right. Magikarp's got 30 HP, which incidentally is another huge reason not to play Gyarados. 30 HP is horrendous. And it's flip a coin. If heads, you can do 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I actually did this myself and I couldn't check with Antoine, but it's definitely flip a coin. If heads, 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not good. So let's talk about Dondozo, because this could be good. 160 HP on a basic Pokemon is pretty nuts, honestly. 4 energy, 120 is terrible, nobody cares. But 2 colorless energy, and this attack does 50 damage for each of your Tatsugiri in the discard pile. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now we are talking. I love this. And here's the thing. In a world where Dondozo evolves from Tatsugiri, I don't like this anywhere near as much. In a world where they're completely different Pokemon, which they obviously are, oh, I love this. I love this. This is really good. Incidentally, if you played the game, you'll know these are very much a pair, and I love the way they work together. Because firstly, it's just 2 colorless energy. Now, admittedly, twin energy is rotating, and that's a little bit of a pain. And we are losing... Well, we've still got double turbo energy, but the problem is that will take you down from 200 to 180, which is a little bit of a pain, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But it does exist, and here it's any energy acceleration, because it's colorless energy, and you only need 1 extra energy, so I'm not worried about the energy here. And basically, you get 4 Tatsugiri in your discard pile, nice and early, and then you've just got a bunch of basic Pokemon that for 2 colorless energy do 200 damage all game long. And have got 160 HP, so your opponent's actually going to have to put a little bit of effort into KOing them. Obviously, if you're hitting for weakness, it's great. If you're not hitting for weakness, whack a choice belt on there. You're doing 230, you're getting your Pokemon V, which is awesome. And sure, against V-Star and V-Max and evolving Pokemon EX, sure, you are going to have to go to a lot more effort to actually go and get KOs, but you're a basic Pokemon attacking for 2 colorless energy? And honestly, getting 4 Tatsugiri in your discard pile early doors is not going to be that difficult. It really isn't. We got ways to search Pokemon. We got ways to discard them. We are going to be okay here. I really, really like this. This is the kind of deck that I am going to be playing around with. And it's a big water fish, so I don't know. It seemed appropriate to pop it in here while we're having a chat about Gyarados anyway. Tatsugiri itself has Okacheke artwork. Not the only Okacheke artwork, incidentally. There are 3 Okacheke cards, I believe. I need to double check that. There are at least, there we go. There are at least 3 Okacheke cards in this double set. But I do believe very strongly this is the best of them. I absolutely adore this artwork. Artwork-wise, it's probably my favourite card in the set. I think it is just absolutely proper job, over the top, stunning good. I just think this is absolutely brilliant. In terms of playability, we've got single energy, search a deck for up to 2 water energy and attach them to one of your basic Pokemon in play. Actually not terrible. I don't love it, but if it's turn 1 and I'm struggling to get some stuff going, then I can use this to get one of my Dondozo going, get the energy on them, which is lovely. I don't like the fact that you have to attach both energy to 1 Pokemon. What I would really want to do here is attach 1 energy to each of 2 bench Dondozo. That would be the ideal, and then they basically turn into single energy attackers. That is not the goal. The other thing is, if you start Tatsugiri, your opponent is going to try really hard to knock anything else out, because they know that putting this in the discard is 50 extra damage for you, so they are going to be trying pretty hard to KO something else, and you're going to need to get this off the board yourself. Hey-ho. Oh, single water energy, 30 damage, put this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. There we go. That is how you get this Pokemon off the field. And then once it's in your hand, you discard it. I'm giving Dondozo 4 Wassies, and honestly, I think I might be doing it a bit of a disservice. I really, really like this pair of cards. Like I've said, Gyarados, unfortunately, I do think is a little disappointing. Crazy high energy. Love the energy. Way too expensive. And you got to muck about for 30 HP basic. I don't think that's something I can particularly get on board with. However, you tell me about this. Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, this I can get way more excited about. I can't tell you this is going to be a great deck. We'll have to wait and see how the format shakes out. But I can tell you that I am absolutely going to test the bejesus out of this deck because I think it's absolutely brilliant. And you know there's going to be more cards in the future that are going to support this in some way. There's going to be more Tatsugiri which are going to work with this in different ways. I love it. And it's Okacheke artwork. What more do you want? Honestly, I want to give it 5 wassies, but I'm trying to be a little bit calm. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know how excited you are. I want to know anything you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts where I answer all of your questions, join a Discord and chat with us about Pokemon and anything else that takes your fancy, and get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Mike, who I think's been a supporter of ours for a couple of years now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to Mike for the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.